So in the video here you can see we have a sump tank which is full of water. We have a loop whereby the water flows through a pump which is controlled by the computer here, and then carries on along through the pump through this diversion valve. We don't use the heat exchanger, so it just goes directly along here. This is a flow sensor, which also we're not using, and it carries on here and gets pumped into the header tank here. Also within the header tank we have a float, that round ball, which travels up this metal cylinder here, and within here we have a level sensor which records the level of that float. So the level sensor is probably something simple like a potentiometer with some gearing to connect it to the float. I'm not sure about that. You can have a look at that yourselves in the Bytronic handbook. So the experiment is we're going to ask for a step change in input using the computer. So down here you won't be able to see it on the film, but we've set a set point of 80. That's 80% of full. And we're starting from a level of 0, which is approximately what the water's at just now. And a step change is a sudden change from 0 to 80% in an infinitely small amount of time. And we're going to watch how the system responds to that. The system's currently set up as an open loop control system. The loop has a proportional gain of 10, and that's just to try and speed the system up a little bit. You can see the yellow line here. I'm not sure how clearly you can see it. I'll maybe zoom in on that once I've showed you the system working. The yellow line here is our set point, or our reference input at 80%, and the blue line is our actual level measured by the float. So without further ado, I'll just switch it on for an automatic step change. And since I've explained this, I'll maybe move the camera over to the screen so you can see it a bit better. But let's get it started anyway. In fact, let's move the camera first. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in on the little computer here. So that's the computer that's doing the control. You'll see also in the corner here there is another computer here. What's actually happening with that other computer is down here we have a control panel, and we're monitoring the level sensor output using LabVIEW data acquisition. So that level sensor output is going to an analog to digital converter within the desktop computer. And if you have a close look, if I zoom in on the display, I'm not sure how well that will show up in the video, but you should be able to see that measurements are being taken every thousandth of a second, and currently the level is sitting slightly negative, which would agree with where the float is, which you can hopefully see the float is just slightly below the 0 mark there. So that kind of ties in with a slightly negative level. So the data that you'll be given on your coursework is the data coming from this computer, measured every thousandth of a second as a level, for the level output. Okay, so let's just get started. I'll zoom in on this computer, I think, so you can see Okay, so let me press start, and you can hopefully hear the pump coming on there. You can see the level rising, or water flowing into the top header tank there, being pumped in by the automatically controlled pump. It hasn't actually triggered a step change yet, so that would suggest that the calibration of the level sensor is very poor, because it didn't actually trigger a start to rise until about 25%. But that won't matter for the purposes of what we're doing, because it was calibrated at the time you did at the time I took the original data. So not the greatest picture, but hopefully you can just about see the Bytronic level. I'm going to take the camera off the tripod, actually be easier. there you go, you can see the blue trace is the level sensor output, showing what the level should be, or what the system thinks the level is. Yellow is the set point. And it's pretty much a constant rise because we have a proportional only controller, so that's what we'd expect, until we get to the close to the set point, at which time the pump comes off. The white trace is the pump signal, or pump voltage, and the signal should now, the level should now sit at the reference value. Okay, I'm just going to click stop there because otherwise we lose the picture. But you can see there's not much of a steady state error. The blue line and the yellow line are pretty much on top of each other. Also, if we zoom in on the measurements here, we can see a value of around about nearly 80%. It's sitting around 7.978. I'm not sure how clear that is on the video. It's hard for me to hold the camera steady enough, but so all three things are agreeing, apart from the float measurement, which is actually sitting at nearly 100. So that's just poor calibration of the actual level sensor itself, but the signal calibration is fine. Okay, that's all for now then. I hope that helps with your coursework.